Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States, and this is my tutorial for the Thankful Garden Thinking of You hydrangea card. It is a fun fold, and this is the second card that I was going to make during my Facebook Live on Tuesday. However, due to technical difficulties, that didn't happen, so I'm going to pre-record it here and post it for you so that you can see how I put that card together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Thankful Garden is a 13-piece photopolymer stamp set, and you can bundle it with the Thankful Garden dies. And in addition, then, there are some Thankful Garden decorative masks that go along with that. Excuse me, we'll be using all three pieces of that. In addition, I'm going to bring in the textured notes dies. These also released on March 4th in the online exclusives, as well as the Thankful Garden. And then I'll be pulling in Wonderful Thoughts and its coordinating Wonderful Thoughts die set, which were in the annual catalog. So you can still get those, or they're an online exclusive. I'm not really sure at this point. Originally, they were an annual catalog thing. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we're going to get started with our stamping. And I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, and it is no longer available anymore, but I'm going to use it today. So we are going to start with... we need a piece of basic white, and let's see, where did I just put that basic white I had? Okay, well, all right, let's grab another piece, because for some reason I can't find the one I cut, which was here 2 minutes ago. Okay, well, it'll show up. They always do when you are done with your video, of course. That's when you find them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a trimmer. I don't need to be particular in how this is cut. I just need to be at least 3.5 inches. So I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4. And then I'll just have this piece of cardstock. Actually, I'm just going to cut this down. I don't need it to be huge. So let's just grab this piece and put it in here. Sorry about that. I thought I had that cut and I cannot find it. Okay, so we're going to take the hydrangea from the Thankful Garden stamp set, and I'm going to use Pebbled Path. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. And then I'm going to stamp this down like so. Okay. Now, I would also stamp this 2 more times on a scrap piece of cardstock, whatever it, nothing thick. You want it to be rather thin. So you would stamp this twice more so that you can make a mask, but don't use your good basic white. Okay, and then I'm going to take a piece of the Bokeh, beautiful Bokeh Designer Series paper. And this is a 48 pack of 6x6 sheets, and you get quite a few sheets of each design. And so we're going to be using 2 different patterns. We're going to be using the Berry Burst and Bokeh, but we're using the back side. And then we're also using this piece of blue. Okay, so those are our Designer Series papers that we're going to use. For this one, though, you just need to put this one in your stamp positioner tool. And then really all you need to do on this one is ink up just the top of the stamp and stamp it down. As you can see, I've already done that. I used the Pebble Path, so that's done. And then you need to take this little die, and with this same color of paper, you're going to run that through. You'll have a strip, you'll have plenty of that. And then you'll just take and you'll run 2 of these through. Okay, so you need 2 of those, like this. Okay, and I've already done that ahead of time to save us a little bit of trouble. A little bit of time, not trouble, but a little bit of time. And then we also need to, actually, let's go ahead. I might actually need to do that. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so let's, sorry, I seem a little bit of discombobulated. I had a little bit of technical issues and it kind of threw me off. Okay, so now we have, these are my 2 that I can use for masks, okay? So with my one for the mask, I'm just going to take and cut this die again. So you're cutting 2 out of the DSP. You're also going to take this stamped piece, and let me save you some trouble. This piece fits right in here. So in order for you to know that, so what it does is it cuts out 1, 2, 3 hydrangea leaves right here, right by the stem. So what I did with mine was I fit that over those 3, and then I took a Sharpie and I marked that where the leaf is. So now all I have to do is throw that on there, line up those leaves, line it around the petals, and I know exactly where to cut. And that's what I have. Okay, so I've got this, and this is going to be my masking mask. And then I also have, here's another one that I had stamped and I die cut in that same spot. And we're going to use this to stamp on. Okay, so this is going to take these, and you're going to lay these right in here. On here. I've already done this, but I want to show you what I did. And then I took some ink, and I inked that up. And then I stamped it down. And then I lifted those out and replaced it with another one. Ink that up, and you only need to ink this little area, and then stamp it down again, and then you'll have your leaves. Okay, that just saves a bunch of repeat stamping. Okay, so we've got all of that done now. Oh, and then I'll show you what we've got to do. Yeah, we're done with that. Okay, let's put this away. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. All right. So now we have our piece that we need to color. And this particular piece, all we're going to color is the leaves. Okay. So let's put away our ink. And then let's get our shaded spruce. And we're going to put this on. And then I'm going to grab the masks that I need. And in this case, I'm going to use 4 and 5. So I'm going to take my mask and I'm going to line up my leaf here, like so. And where is that one alcohol wipe keep getting off to? Okay, you have to fix this because each time you change your mask, you gotta change your markings. Okay, so I'm just gonna line this up. Want that to stick nice and nice and well. And then I'm going to line this up. Get that all set in there. On my glass mat, I'm going to take a Sharpie and mark so I can find those. Okay. And then I'm going to take some shaded spruce and a blending brush, and I'm going to lightly shade in this stencil with that shaded spruce. I do not want this to be dark. Of course, if you want yours to be dark, then you can put on more ink. I wanted mine to be fairly light. So now I've got stencil number 4. And now I'm going to bring in stencil number 5. And because I marked those with my Sharpie, I can line that up. And then line up my leaves. Okay. And then I'm going to take some more of that ink. It's the same shaded spruce. And I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then I'm going to lift my mask and see if I'm happy with that. I think I want just a little bit more. So we'll add that. And there, I'm happy with that. So now we're done with our leaves. Now, we would take this to the die cut machine because this just needs to be die cut. And there's a die for that. Okay, let's put this one back so I don't lose it. And it's this large die, and we would cut that out. And we would have this. Okay. So this piece is ready to go. Now, we're going to take this piece, and again, we're going to take those decorative masks, and I'm going to clean off my marks off my glass mat. Okay. And then I'm going to line up one. So I'm going to figure out how this sits like this. Once you get one lined up, then I took a Sharpie pen on my stencil and I drew in the leaves. But you would actually want to do this while you have this one there so that you can see it. Okay, because this one we just did the top. So you want to do your stencil ahead of time with this. Okay, so now we can mark this down and use this. And we're going to mark this. Okay, and I've got that. Now, if you had just a regular white piece of paper like this, you would do this mask. Because I'm using Designer Series paper, I'm only using this mask number 1 to line up my image. Then I'm not going to use it, okay? And I'm going to give this an extra little mark right over here. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off. So I don't need 1 because I've got my Designer Series paper as 1. Now I'm going to bring in 2. I'm going to line up those marks and line up that image. Just makes it easier and quicker to do it this way. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then we're going to bring in some balmy blue. Okay, so let's grab some balmy blue ink. And we're going to take that over the top of this Designer Series paper. And again, I'm doing this light. I don't want to completely cover my DSP. I'm not trying to cover up all that prettiness. I just want to add some definition. So I'm happy with that. Then we're going to move on to Fresh Freesia. Okay, And then we're going to grab mask number 3. Okay, and again, because I've got those lines, this is going to be easy to line up. Okay, so it looks good. Tape that down. Get some fresh freesia. Okay, and then I'm just going to go over this with the fresh freesia. Okay, and that's just going to give me a little bit more depth. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that. So this is our piece now. Okay. So the last thing that you would need to do is take your mask that you cut that piece out of, line this up, stick in your stamped piece here, and then you would repeat this process with 1 to get your register marks, and then 2 in balmy blue and 3 in fresh freesia. And with this though, once you get this lined up, number 2, let's find 2 here. Once we line up number 2, which is going to be about right here, okay, we would color this with balmy blue. Then I would carefully lift this, but we're going to have it taped. I would carefully lift that, pull this one out, put this one in, ink that one with the balmy blue. Then I could pull off mask number 2, add mask number 3. Okay, line that up. Then I would take my fresh freesia, ink that up, lift this up, pull this out, put this one in, put the fresh freesia, and then I have 2 that look like this. Okay, so that is all of our inking done. All right, so let's set this aside. And keep that safe. All right, so then throw this in your stamp case for the next time you want to do that. Okay, so now we need to cut this out. So we're going to take that die, excuse me, and we're going to line this up. And run it through our die cut machine. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I need to knock out this piece here. Let's line that up. Get that all lined up just so. Tape that down. This piece should fit through my mini machine. So let's put that in there. That die barely fits. It's not going, oh, doesn't matter. I only need the top of it. I think it'll be fine. I think it's going to be, oh, it moved. Hang on. I apparently didn't have it taped just good enough. And I somehow moved that. Okay, there we go. All right. So you probably need the big machine, but I don't need to cut the whole thing, so if the leaf doesn't cut, it doesn't matter. I just can't hit the side of my machine with that die. Okay. So that's good. All right. It just makes it so I don't have to bring my big machine over. Okay, there we go. And now we've got that. And then I'm just going to take my paper snips and I'm going to snip this off right here from that leaf. And then I'm going to cut around here and here. Here with my paper snips. I'm going to go in here. So I want to cut off that line there. And then I'm going to go down, cut that petal, and cut that. And there's what I have now. Okay, so now I have the top of the hydrangea, and I didn't have to, I've got the paper doing some of the work. Man, I've got a frog in my throat. So let's go ahead and get that off. Okay. Now, because of the way we did this, this is all ready to go. Got this ready to go. Now we can add those to our basic white. And let's go ahead and get those off so they're not distracting. Okay, now what I did with this, before I do anything else, there are 3 tiny little stamps. Excuse me. My voice is terrible. I'm going to line this up like this. But I want to take these tiny little flower centers and add just a little bit more detail to this hydrangea. So I'm going to take some blueberry bushel, and on the large flowers, I'm going to add this largest piece. Okay, and then I'm going to take this other piece, and I'm going to add those to the medium flowers here. Okay, and then I'm going to take this double one here. I don't think it really matters which one you use. Stick them on. Put your flower centers in there. That just gives a little bit of added depth and dimension to these flowers. Okay, that looks good. Oh, I'm going to put one more right there. Okay. And then you'll do the same with the flowers on these 3 petals. All right. And again, that was blueberry bushel. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up here like so. And I'm just going to put some seal in the center. And I'm going to take my thumb and gently, this is designer series paper, just gently give those edges a little bit of dimension. Okay, and then I'm going to put this down and line it up. But before I do that, hang on one second. I want to take a little bit of the balmy blue in case anything shows. And I'm just going to put a little bit of balmy blue around these edges. just in case that white shows. Okay. And I also need to take this before I add that. I want to cut away this petal from that leaf. So I'm just going to take that and continue that line off the leaf. And then I'm just going to round that leaf right there. Okay, just to separate that. Because when I put this, I had to separate. And I don't want it, there would be a piece of white that would be stuck between them, and I don't want that. So we're just going to cover up the white, stick that down in the center. I'm going to give these petals a little bit of a curl. I'm going to do that on both of these. Okay. And then I'm going to take some glue dots. I'm so sorry about my throat. I haven't had any issues all day. And then here we are. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to take and set this down. See how it looks. I think I want that like that. And then I'll just put this in here like so. Okay. So there is my hydrangea. Now, could you skip this, putting these two sections on, and just use this? Yes, you absolutely could. You could simplify it that way. No problem. Okay, now we need a card base because we need something to add this to. So we're going to take a standard thick A2 sized basic white. That's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And I'm going to cut 1 3/8 off of this end, which really will give me 7 1/8 by 5.5. So I'm just going to stick this into my trimmer. And I like to cut on this side, so I'm going to stick that at 1 3/8. I'm just going to cut that off. And I'll use that for something else later. So now I have this. Okay, let's get this out of the way for a second. Let's bring in a piece of the beautiful bokeh paper. I'm going to cut this one at 4 1/8. Got a scrap by 5 3/8. And I've got another scrap. And then I'm going to take this and cut it at 2 3/4. Okay. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then cut it at 1 3/4. And you'll need those two pieces. Okay. Now we're going to add those to our card base. And I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal for that. So I'm going to put this on the front of the card, like so. It has a very thin border. You could make yours 4 by 5 1/4 and still cut it, and then you would have a larger border. Okay. And then we're going to add this to the inside here with an even border on 3 sides, and there's our card base. Now, I have cut a piece of basic white using the Textured Notes dies, and I've used this die right here, so it's the third to the largest. These are also online exclusives. And this is going to be the piece that I add this to. So we're going to take this and pop it up on some dimensionals. I need to grab a sheet of dimensionals because the ones on my desk are empty. So we're just going to pull this, put a few dimensionals on here. Okay. And then we'll remove those backings. And if you have trouble, just stick your finger in the middle of the dimensional and it'll pop up the edge. Okay. So we're going to add this to our die cut here, like so. Okay. And then this is going to go on here. And we need to put adhesive. We don't want to put any adhesive past this last little stitch there. So I can flip this over, get my Stampin' Seal. Okay. I'm going to line this up again. Give that a press. Make sure I didn't go outside of there because I don't want to glue my card shut. And then we're going to take some of the iridescent trim. And I've cut this down. So what I like to do is I like to take this ribbon and then I'll just get a length that I know I need, and then I'll cut. In this case, I cut right along this second thing right there, the length of my ribbon. Okay. And so this is what I have. I'm going to bring in my bow jig, tie this up. I want to get that more even. No, I still don't have it right. Good grief. Okay. This is... What am I doing here? There we go. There we go. Oh, goodness. I made that look way harder than it needed to be. This is the easiest way for me to tie these beautiful bows. And I'm just going to trim that off for now. And then we'll pull that off. Grab a glue dot. Put my glue dot or my knot right in the center of that glue dot. Take my tweezers and then we're going to add that right here. Okay. Now we need to do our sentiment. And I'm going to take this piece of designer series paper, the same as the front of our card. I'm going to take this piece of basic white and I'm going to glue this to that basic white, just like so. Okay. And then I'm going to trim this off. And because my DSP is so thin, it's not super sturdy. I wanted to make my sentiment a little more sturdy. Okay. So I'm going to take this and Thinking of You comes from the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set. This is in the online exclusives at this point, I believe. And we're going to take Blueberry Bushel and Thinking of You here. And I'm going to stamp this down toward the bottom because I know that I do not have basic white at the top there. And then this has a die to cut it out. So we're going to take the Wonderful Thoughts dies and the Thinking of You. And we're going to run that through the die cut machine. Okay, so let's do this. And I'll just tape that down so it stays. Then we'll bring up the mini. Crank that through. And now we have a perfectly die cut Thinking of You. All right. And we can add this to our card here. I'm going to trim this up a little bit. It doesn't want to do what I want it to do, so off it goes. And then I'm going to lay this on here, and this part's going to go on the flower. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive there, and then I'm going to take my mini glue dots. And actually, I probably need to move this a little bit further down here. Okay, so we've got that. Remove those backings. Stick this on here. And now we have our sentiment. Now the last thing that we need to do to the outside of this card is add a little bit of sparkle. Oh, hang on. I did this and I forgot to do this. Darn it. I was going to shimmer this. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to just shimmer. Let me get this because I don't want this to get all shimmery. So I'm going to stick some cardstock in here because I forgot to do this beforehand. So I'm just going to stick some cardstock in here. This is just some scrap. And then, let's see. I'm going to get some more scrap. Put that in there. This is how you fix your mistakes when you don't pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, and this is discontinued paper, so it doesn't matter. Okay, let's stick this in here. Not in there, in here. I want to stick it, yeah, right there. Okay, there we go. That should protect my paper pretty good. And then I'll just give this a spritz. And you might be wondering what this is. What I've done is I've taken either 70 or 91% alcohol. And I took my Wink of Stella glitter brush and I held it over the top. I took this off like this. Remove this. And then just push. Your Wink of Stella brush has a push here. And then just push that in and give it a few drops of the Wink of Stella. And then put your spritzer back together. Give that a good shake. And now you have a Wink of Stella spray. Okay. All right. So there we have that. Now let's go ahead and grab those gems. I'm using the Tinsel Gems 4-pack. And I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. And we're going to grab one of these little ones. We're going to put it up here. I'm going to grab a bigger one. Put it over here. And then I'll grab another big one in the blueberry bushel. And I'll put it down here. Okay. Then I like to take, when I'm happy with my placement, and take the Take Your Pick tool and give that a good press so those don't fall off. And for the inside, I've taken that hydrangea and just stamped it down in the corner. And then I took my blending brush in Blueberry Bushel, Highland Heather, not Blueberry Bushel, Balmy Blue, Highland Heather, and Fresh Freesia. And I just did some random blending. And I did the same thing to the envelope. Doesn't matter, just take it and just blend. Just in little spots of the 3 colors. That's what I used. And then I'm going to add this to the inside of my card. And this is a piece of 2 3/4 basic white, 2 3/4 by 5 3/8. I've also taken a leftover piece of that Balmy Blue, the same paper, and added that to the bottom. There is our card. There is our envelope. I thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when I go live or when I upload a new video. And I will see you on Thursday Night Live on YouTube. Thank you so much. Good night.